How's it going, everyone? It's Artifact, and I know what you're thinking because I've been thinking the exact same thing since I got here. Why, oh why didn't I take the blue pill? Fasten your seatbelts, Dorothy. Kansas is about to go bye-bye. I'm going to show you how I made the second bass response, the cipher stabs in this bass section, in this little loop. Because in the first part, the brick top bass, I've called it, that was a Patreon exclusive bass one of my patrons suggested I make for him, so that's a secret for him. But this second section is something I've knocked up, and I've called it the wrong pill, and it's these stabs. Let's take a listen to them on their own. So they're pretty nasty, and it's a patch in Vital. I'm going to show you some post-processing I've done on it as well. And let's have a little look at the MIDI because it's a bit crazy. There's quite a lot of sort of notes going here, some fast kind of stabs. And it's actually two patches. So it's one original patch, and then I just made a sort of separate patch with a sort of higher octave, and then I layered that on top. But we're going to be mostly focusing on the original patch. So if I just take off the modulation here, all of it, and we open up Vital, I'm going to take off the effects, and I just started this patch by trial and error, trying some new wavetables out, and so I actually really like this one, which is the Squish Flange. What a great name. And I've put it onto this inharmonic mode, which is really cool. I turn that off. So this is the original wavetable with nothing. I've turned down the phase to make sure that every note is always the same, and then I've whacked up the unison as high as it can go to create that kind of real like detuned sound. And then once we put it onto the inharmonic, you've got this really kind of like, it's almost like a vocal choir pad sound, and I thought it sounded really, really nice. And so I've just mapped this to an envelope. This is very simple modulation on this patch. There's an envelope with we turn the sustain down. That should be all the way down really, and a decay, just a short decay. So it's just a stab, you know. You can see how it's going down, and that's basically it. And then I thought the next step would be to frequency modulate something into this, so we can create like a more pleasant textural landscape of joy. So this is the one I went for, which was basically another Squish Flange, but this time I've high passed the hell out of it, so it's quite a different wavetable now. And we don't really need the level on it because we're using it to FM into frequency, into oscillator 1. So if we turn it up, that's kind of how it sounds together. But I chose to just leave this down and have this on the envelope as well. So just the attack is doing the frequency modulation, and then it's kind of backing off again. So it's just a quick stab. Obviously without it, it's lacking that high-end texture, and this oscillator here is just providing that for us. So that's quite a nice little sound. There's another little thing going on, which is it sounded a little bit too static at certain points. So I just put on a bend, which is a really like nice way just to get a little bit of subtle movement into the sound. So I just put a bend on here and a slow LFO on the bend. As you can see, it just slowly changes over time, so it's just a little bit more natural. I like doing this. I don't know if you've noticed. I feel like I'm casting a spell. Then this third one is also just being frequency modulated by number 1, and this is just a basic sine wave. I just like to throw it in here just to add a little bit of warmth underneath. And that's basically the essence of what this patch is. So you can definitely replicate this yourself. I will also upload it on my Patreon because I have a bunch of presets now from Vital on there Shout out to my man BK, long-time supporter, FireTeam crew, because he suggested I make some neuro-based stabs. So this is kind of for you, man. Then we got a few little effects going on. I can't remember which ones I use now. Let me just compare. We'll go back to my original. Right, okay. So I put on the compressor because it gives a bit of like grit, and this has been mixed in as well on the envelope. So we have like the high mix ratio of the compressor, and then it quickly comes back down again. So that's giving the stab like more impact at the beginning. And we've done a similar thing with the filter here, just a phaser negative. If we listen to the difference. Kind of gives this kind of even more like vocal filter sound to it, which I think is really nice. And all I've done is just modulate this sort of amount of the peaks of the filters here. That's just going on. That's just going on the envelope as well, just so it's a quick stab change in filter movement thing. What do you know? Anyway, what do you know? I don't know why I said that. Distortion just brings the overall volume up. That's basically the patch here. And then I just played some crazy stuff on the piano. Right, and then let's get into the modulation. So we have just on this tiny bit of ring modulation, which I always rave about. I'm affiliated with Kilohertz. You can get all of their plugins or anything on their website with 10% off, and then I get the other 10%. So it's like kind of a 50-50 thing. I'll leave a link down below. You just have to type in the code artifact if you want to save money on their plugins. I really think they're pretty awesome, actually. And then this Fresh Air, which is a free plugin, which is wicked. Using the mid-air setting here. And then I'll talk about the second patch I made here. And you can hear it's very sort of distorted. And again, I've used the phase distortion from Kilohertz to get this kind of this like really overly gritty sound. And this patch is basically very similar, but I've just introduced a few extra things, like a bit of sampled white noise, and I've just turned up the pitches on these first two oscillators so that we get a sort of higher octave. And then they kind of play together, or they blend together with a little bit of high pass EQing. The other settings are all the same. We have that high distorted layer. Then I further go on to post-process this, just some wave shaping and some decapitator. I'm actually thinking about doing a Patreon exclusive tutorial on how I use the Sound Toys plugins, like specifically, because I've been using them for like 6 years or something. So there's quite a lot of individual settings that I think are really like worthwhile, like knowing the plugin inside and out kind of thing. But yeah, that's the final result then. So I hope that kind of inspires you to make like a cabbage or another bass line, for example. Or you can just, you know, thank me in the comments below. Tell me how much you love me. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think that's a really nice little stab pattern. That came about really, really easily. Just trial and error, experimenting, sound design in Vital. I just love this synth. It's absolutely wicked. Let me know in the comments what else you want me to make, because I'm just kind of freestyling here. But if you have any like specific requests of stuff you want me to try and design, I'm happy to give it a go. So just leave a little shout out down below. And yeah, have a wicked day. Ciao, ciao.